After 87 years, I'm so excited to be back making YouTube videos, talking about horror, talking about movies. A lot of things have happened in the last couple of months, and that's why I've been absent. On top of that is that I've graduated from my filmmaking degree after 4 years. So as you can imagine, I've been pretty busy. But I'm just excited to be back talking about movies with all of you. Now in this video, I just wanted to chill, I just wanted to talk about hidden gems that I feel nobody has talked about, and what a better way to do that than basing that recommendation out of a popular or so loved horror film. Now some disclaimers before we start with today's video. The first one is that I'm not gonna talk about with spoilers. Everything is gonna be spoiler free because obviously I want everyone to enjoy these films from zero. Also, I will give trigger warnings from some of these films because honestly some of them are very disturbing, and also expect like really hidden gems here because I think the hidden gems from this video, they're very underrated. I don't see many people in the community talking about them. So don't expect stuff like if you loved Scream, you will enjoy Urban Legend, because that's just not gonna happen. Urban Legend is a very popular and loved film in the community, like everyone knows that film, so don't expect those comparisons. And also, I'm not gonna read the synopsis out of the hidden gems, and I'm just gonna talk about those films on my own words because I think the synopsis sometimes they reveal a lot of stuff, which brings me to the point of it's not because the popular film, it doesn't mean that the other film is exactly the same film. I'm just talking about the vibes, if that makes sense. Maybe a lot of things are different, a lot of things are similar. It's not the fact that they're the same film. So to kick off this list, let's just get down with the disturbing stuff, shall we? So if you loved this disturbing British film from 2008 called Eden Lake, yes, Eden Lake thankfully has gained a lot of popularity over the last few years because it's described as one of the most disturbing films ever, and I agree. I've watched this film twice and that film still haunts me until today. So if you love that kind of disturbingness from like a couple in the forest or like group of friends in the forest and something weird that starts to happen that goes in a very disturbing way, I will definitely recommend the film called Killing Ground from 2016, an Australian horror. Now this film is also very disturbing, especially because again it's similar like Eden Lake. In Killing Ground we have a couple and they also go to the forest and stuff starts to happen. Obviously I don't want to go further into that, but there are different films in different disturbing ways. They are not the same kind of disturbing film. But for Killing Ground, I just want to say that there is a lot of SA scenes and also a lot of violence involving babies. Not a lot of violence, maybe like 1 or 2 scenes, but like they're very violent. So I wish I knew that before watching the film, but I think if you know that, or even if you spoil yourself those scenes, I think you can enjoy the film because it's very disturbing. And also I love the storytelling in that film. I think the way it is shot and the way that it's portrayed, it makes you think what's happening before or after. So I think that's why this film is very unique, and that's why I think it's different than Eden Lake, but at the same time they're very similar. Coming at number 4 is a film from a very popular director, and this is his last horror film he has done for now. Hopefully he will come back to horror, please, because now he's free from superhero films. So we're talking about James Wan here. So if you loved his latest horror called Malignant, which is a very popular film, and I'm so glad for that, I think you will enjoy a movie called Appendage from 2023. So this is a very brand new film, but I don't think anyone watched this film because it went directly into streaming into Hulu and Disney Plus here in the UK. So unfortunately it didn't have any marketing, but I watched that film and I have to say that film to Malignant, they're very similar. So as we know, Malignant is about, obviously I'm not gonna give spoilers, but as we know, Malignant is about, we have this female character, something wrong is going on, something is talking to her, we don't know what's talking to her until the movie starts to reveal itself, and when that gets revealed, a lot of stuff starts to happen, if that makes sense. So with Appendage, is very similar vibes. We have a female character, she goes to uni and something weird starts to happen to herself, something starts talking to her, but we don't know what it is until the film starts to develop. So we have like both creatures kind of films, but we don't know why, where, or how. So that's why Appendage is very similar to Malignant, but at the same time they're very, very different, but the vibes are very similar. So I think if you loved Malignant as much as I did, I think Appendage will be up your taste. Now the next film will be actually two popular films are based for my recommendation. So if you loved a 2017 folk horror that I think is underrated overall, but many people know that film when they talk about folk horror, that will be The Ritual. And also if you love the popular film from the 80s called Hellraiser, so if you love those two films, I think you will definitely enjoy a Turkish horror film called Başkan. Now when it comes to The Ritual and Hellraiser, obviously they're completely different films, but those two films are like why I'm recommending Başkan. So because The Ritual is about a group of like 30-something guys in the forest, and something weird starts to happen because again it's folk horror, and I think folk horror can be very creepy, and they come across a lot of stuff in the forest, because I don't want to give spoilers for The Ritual. So that's something similar happening in Başkan. We have a group of 30-something police officers, male officers. They go into the forest. Obviously I don't want to say the reasons why they go there, and again stuff starts to happen. And why am I comparing it to Hellraiser when it's a completely different film than The Ritual? Well, because Hellraiser, as we know, is erotic. As we know, Hellraiser is about hell, it's about gore, it's about the Pinkhead, it's about the Cenobites and all of that. And in Başkan, it's not like that happens, because obviously that will be a huge spoiler, but something similar, or like maybe the vibes, maybe it's erotic, maybe it's horror erotic, maybe it's also about hell. So if you're into Hellraiser and The Ritual, or just Hellraiser or The Ritual, please definitely give Başkan, the Turkish horror film, a go. And now the last two films, the last two hidden gems that I'm gonna recommend are based on two really popular horror films, and we gotta celebrate because out of these two popular horror films, there is a new one coming out. So yes, we're talking about The Strangers. So if you loved The Strangers Prey at Night from 2018, which is like one of my favorites, you will definitely enjoy a movie called The Utah Cabin Murders. Now why am I recommending the second Strangers to The Utah Cabin Murders? It's because in the sequel we got this family, so we don't have a couple anymore, we got this family and they go somewhere far from home, and then obviously the Strangers family like come across and stuff starts to happen. Obviously I don't want to go into further. And the Utah Cabin Murders is very similar. So we got a family again in the forest, but obviously it's different than The Strangers, but again it's similar vibes. Now I have to say that the Utah Cabin Murders, that is trigger warnings for guns, and I don't know if that should be a trigger warning, but for me I'm very sensitive with guns and stuff, so I wish I knew that. So the Utah Cabin Murders I think is more disturbing than The Strangers, and both of them are like based on true events. Obviously the sequel of The Strangers is not, but the Utah Cabin Murders is. So if you're into that kind of stuff, give that film a go. And coming at number one, as I said before, we're talking about the original Strangers, which is one of my favorite horror films of all time, and I'm so excited that a new film is coming out. Expect a whole deep dive on that film, the first Strangers, and also in the sequel. Maybe I will be comparing them for a horror movie duos and all of that. So if you love The Strangers, and we all know The Strangers, home invasion, couple, The Strangers families, but also Paranormal Activity. So Paranormal Activity, again we know it is about found footage with CCTV inside a house with a couple. So have that in mind. We got The Strangers and Paranormal Activity. So if you love those two films, you will definitely enjoy a film called They Are Inside from 2019, I believe. And it was a Shudder, I think it's a Shudder exclusive. I'm not sure if it's a Shudder original. I watched it on Shudder, but I don't know if it's taken down. Now, They Are Inside is a home invasion within found footage. So I think that was pretty iconic, and I think that's the reason why I'm comparing it to the first Strangers and Paranormal Activity. Now I'm not gonna talk too much about it because I don't want to spoil The Are Inside, but just have in mind that obviously it's a found footage combined with home invasion with a couple, like two couples, and a lot of stuff starts to happen, and also the art inside is a bit disturbing. I'm not gonna lie, that thing got me in a few scenes. So if you're in the mood for that, definitely give it a go. I think it's a good combination of home invasion and found footage. So those were my recommendations for this topic of, if you love this horror film, this popular horror film, you will enjoy this hidden gem. Now let me know in the comment section below if you have watched those hidden gems or even the popular films that I've mentioned, and also your recommendations if you got any film that you would recommend based on those films or in any popular horror film that might come to your mind. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you would watch those films, if they will be added to your infinitive watch list, and I will see you in the next video. Expect the Strangers deep dive may be coming out next Monday, and I will see you on the next video. Have a nice end of the week. Talk soon. Bye bye.